Helmut and I are back on the stage because we have to do an exciting announcement now.
Yeah, so we really love Europe, and there's this wonderful new initiative from Ursula von der Leyen, the new European Bauhaus, and we want to contribute to it.
Genau, and now we have a little intro in this, and then we go on.
Cool.
Where is the intro?
What is the new European Bauhaus in one sentence? It's a cultural, environmental and economic project because it has the ambition to make our Green Deal a cultural, human-centered, positive and tangible experience.
We want to convene people from different backgrounds and professions. Architects, designers, artists, but also scientists, students, digital experts and business people. Only if we all work together will we be able to bring the European Green Deal to life. The European Bauhaus is an enabler for all those who want to shape the sustainable living of tomorrow.
This is what the European Bauhaus is also all about. It is about transforming the built environment and style. So my last remark on that is, since about 40% of emissions come from constructing and operating buildings, the built environment is really the elephant in the climate room.
We need projects that open a perspective for the future, that make us dream, that touch our emotions and stimulate creativity. And this is what the new European Bauhaus is about.
This is what the new European Bauhaus is all about. What a vision. And it resonates so much with the DLD community. The new European Bauhaus wants to connect people from different backgrounds, as you heard it. This was a clipping from the All-Star event in February. Connecting people from different backgrounds all across Europe. That's what we've been doing at DLD for 16 years now. Connect the unexpected. This is the DLD Uber motto. We know artists. Here's Andrea Lisoni from the Bauhaus, from the Haus der Kunst. Future Bauhaus Kunst. Andrea, stand up, say hello. Everyone should see this creative director. We know artists, architects, scientists, entrepreneurs, activists, investors. Everybody here in the audience can be a driver of the new European Bauhaus with creative ideas, pockets of money, the interest creating something with value, mainly the interest creating something with value. And of course, DLD is always ahead of its time with topics such as quantum, computing, Heike Riel, we'll hear from you, the Internet of Things, bioengineering, and more. We discussed them at DLD from early on, before they became mainstream. That's what the DLD community is known for. It's a good community to generate fresh ideas for the new European Bauhaus. And this guy, producing more than 5 unicorns here, is a wonderful partner. Helmut, it's your turn now.
Yeah, super. And Steffi, I think what's so wonderful is that DLD brings together all these creative minds, and what's important now is also to create a joint vision for a sustainable, beautiful and inclusive Europe. That's the idea of the new European Bauhaus, and not only create this vision, but I think also work on concrete solutions, how we can implement it. And I totally believe in this interdisciplinary, intercultural Europe with all these great people like Maurizio from in Italy and his community, and then the friends in Paris and in Stockholm. And what would be wonderful if in Finland. And what would be wonderful if we really build real European companies, scalable companies, not only from one hub or the other one, but really European ones. And I think this is the journey we want to start now.
Yeah. The journey we want to start now is that DLD and UnternehmerTUM, we will start very soon a tour through 27 countries. We want to discover European countries. We want to reconnect and discover the hotbeds of Europe. We want to diminish this unknown Europe. We want to bring Europe, the creative, the important Europe, on the tablet.
Yeah, let's start with it.
Let's start with it. Let's start with it. So, here. So
Dear
there's
DLD community, I'm glad to see that the new European Bauhaus has conquered your hearts. After the DLD All-Stars at the beginning of the year, I'm sure you will have another inspiring session on the topic today. I'm even more happy that, thanks to you, the new European Bauhaus will travel through Europe. As you know, this project longs for input from all of you. An innovative roadshow is a great format to collect ideas from all over Europe and build networks. We will follow your journey, and we're looking forward to receiving your input to the project. So, safe and inspiring travels.
We are very honored that the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, is supporting the tour. Wish us good luck. And this was an inspiring statement for us. And I hope all of you who are sitting here will join us for this tour, with different angles, with many various aspects. But I think this tour could be a wonderful, wonderful trip to Europe, wonderful example, wonderful push for Europe, for the innovative Europe.
Yep. And we already have first friends in Europe where we start.
We have our first wie sagt man, Station, our first stop will be Bari. But before we talk about this, my good friend, my colleague, my Burda colleague, Martin Weiss gives us a little tour through his thoughts about Europe. Martin is the board member of Burda. You will know each other for a long time. Thank you for your support of DLD. Thank you for your friendship. Come on stage.
For your kind words. And it is fantastic to be back at DLD. Who's missed DLD? We've all missed DLD. So thank you very much for putting on one of the first events. Thank you for putting up this event. I know it's been a challenge. I know it's not easy to comply with all the regulations that we have, but you and your team, you pulled through, and thank you so much for making it possible. It's good to be out. It's good to be away from the home office and to be out and about and seeing all of you again. It was a challenging 15 months, wasn't it? On a professional level, but also on a personal level. It was not easy going through this, but the English have a saying. They say, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I think that is exactly what most of us have done. We have not let this crisis go to waste. I think there was a real change in the way that we think about the world. And the past 15 months and the pandemic has changed our thinking and has changed our attitude towards a lot of things. I think we are now a more questioning society. I think we are now a more trial and error society, especially here in Germany. I mean, even the Germans now adopt barcodes, believe it. I mean, 10 years after the Asians have done that. So I think we're now in a position where we really question what is it that we're doing and how can we make things better. And what I see personally emerging in Europe is what I, for me personally, call the new European optimism. I believe that we have great times ahead, and there are real reasons why Europe in future, on the innovation side, on the growth side, is going to thrive. The first reason I'm saying this is the sheer amount of innovative ideas that is hitting us as a company. We're a media and tech business, and we're also an investor. And the amount of new ideas, that wave that is coming in, is a lot bigger than it ever was before. The amount of pitches that we get, the amount of ideas that's coming out of the organization is just X-fold from what it was before. The second reason I'm really optimistic is that startups and new ideas scale faster than they ever did before. Startups are now on turbocharge. What we're seeing is growth, and what we're seeing is increasing revenue lines much faster than we ever did before. And the question is, where does that come from? I think the first reason is, and we saw it on the very first panel here today, the first reason is that we now have a generation of entrepreneurs who've done this before. They're people who've grown up in a digital world, and they've done it before. We have second-time entrepreneurs, we have third-time entrepreneurs, we have heads of marketing, heads of HR who've scaled before. So if they now do it again, it goes a lot faster. The second is, 5 to 10 years ago, we had a debate here in Munich and in Europe whether there was enough venture capital. That is not a problem anymore. What we have today is a ubiquity of capital, and there is not a single good idea that goes unfunded because there is not enough capital going around. And it is European VCs that are funding these European ideas. We are not dependent on American venture capital. We are dependent on European colleagues who are making all of this happen. And I think the third reason we're scaling faster is that we have embraced diversity. We finally have embraced diversity. We have many more women founders. We have many more international teams. English has very much been a transmission belt as a language to bring nations together and to bring people from different cultural backgrounds together. And what we see is English-speaking founder teams all over Europe. And the third reason I'm really optimistic is that, and Hendrik had all of the McKinsey data behind it and the early bird data behind it. Talent really is ubiquitous. Talent is all over Europe. And what we're seeing is not London and Munich and Berlin. What we're seeing is Bologna, we're seeing Bari, we're seeing Cluj, we're seeing Bucharest, we're seeing Cologne. So this is where the innovation is coming from. And what let me give you two examples from the Burda world. When we looked at developing a new tech and product hub for a Hamburg-based business, which we hold the majority in, they came up with the idea to do it in Cadiz and in Porto, and they now employ over 100 people there. When we looked at a new development hub for our Focus Online product, we chose Bari, and we now have over 30 people working in Bari. And when on the investment side, we look at one of the biggest investments that we've done. That is a company from the outskirts, from the fringe of the European Union. They're based in Vilnius. They're active in 14 countries. Their largest market is France. They have a Dutch CEO, and they now look to hire 300 people for a new tech hub in Warsaw. So as you see, it is becoming distributed. So this is the new European Bauhaus. We're right in the middle of it. You are part of it. And going forward, let's give our hearts, let's give our minds, let's give our energy, let's give our everything to make this ecosystem, this distributed ecosystem across Europe, to make this happen. And I am so glad that DLD is picking up the baton and UnternehmerTUM is picking up the baton to make it all happen, because we have a great European future ahead of us, and I'm so much looking forward to being part of it. Steffi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin. Dear Martin, for this enthusiastic speech. I love his term, the new European optimism. Don't you agree with us? The new European optimism. It's a good brand. So with the new European optimism, we show you now some examples what we do. Now we have a Schaltung to Bari. Where is our friend from Bari? Because this will be the first. Yeah. Here. Hi.
Hi.
Lorenzo Maternini, co-founder and vice president corporate relations at Talent Garden. Lorenzo, we want to kick off our tour by coming to the city of Bari, to the beautiful city of Bari. Who of you have ever been in Bari? A few.
Oh.
Not so many.
Yeah.
I really recommend, or Lorenzo, we should recommend them to come to Bari.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
The floor is yours.
You are my guest. You are all my guests.
Good. Lorenzo, please.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me at this conference. It's an honor to be here, unfortunately not in person, and to join the DLD community. Since the beginning, when Francesca Bria, president of the Italian National Innovation Fund, involved me and Talent Garden, the company I co-founded, in the movement of the new European Bauhaus, we were excited to see how the topic of innovation and sustainability could be a powerful means for empowering the local ecosystem, especially in the south of Italy. Now we are dealing with Bari in the region of Puglia. In fact, Talent Garden mission is to connect and train digital talents in the local ecosystem by physical co-working spaces and by our digital academy. We train more than 5,000 talent in Europe. Now Talent Garden, Talent Garden has 21 locations in 7 different states in Europe. We represent the largest network of co-workings and digital academy in Europe. And our goal is to give to each single site this international vibe, this international connection. So it's very important to bring the European power, the European digital ecosystem into the local ecosystem. As we heard before, because it's very important to attract the talent, to reach the talents that now are very spread around Europe, and to give them this kind of connection. This is our mission. And thanks to the Next Generation EU, we are living an extraordinary occasion to turn a local environment into advanced center for innovation and sustainable progress. The district of Bari, for example, is one of the excellent in Europe for technology innovation in some of the most advanced sectors, such as aerospace or nanotechnologies. The work we have to give to this local ecosystem is to give them to give the connection to be more attractive and dynamic in the EU ecosystem. So I think what we are doing today, and also is very connected to the Talent Garden mission, is very important because now, the situation is changed. The innovation ecosystem is not located only in the big hub, but as we have seen, we have now to work in the local environment because they represent our future, European future. So thank you very much to involve us in this project, and I hope to see you soon in person.
We will see us in October in Bari, and I hope you join us for this tour, for the first kickoff of the European Innovation Tour. We all go together, don't we? Now, from Bari, we go to Belgium, to an old friend of DLD. I'm happy to hear from Bart Becks, Executive Chairman of EURACTIV, a well-informed European news network, why we should come with the European Innovation Tour to Belgium. Bart, where are you? Good.
Hi everyone. So strange to be traveling again. I used to live in Munich for a short period 10 years ago, and actually brought my son to Munich now. He's now 13. And I talked to him also about Munich, because when I first arrived, the first walk that I ever did was along the Isar. It was great, and I arrived at this English garden, which was so safe and so beautiful at the time. And I saw this strange thing also at this English garden, which I will never forget again, which is people surfing. It became a bit of an image. Surfing the wave is something that we all try to do when we look at innovation. It got me a lot into sports, because one of the incredible things that I, at the time, experienced was going, of course, to this stadium. It had a couple of Belgians in it, so that always helped. And, of course, we now are in the Euro phase. The Belgian team, by the way, has 4 players who are trained here in Germany. 4 players, 1 scored the winning goal against Portugal. And tomorrow evening, there's a match in the stadium. And of course, this is how the stadium should look like forever. But let me bring us to why Brussels is such, and Belgium in general is such an amazing place. First, and I'll summarize it in 3 points. First is we have an amazing structure and infrastructure related to multidisciplinary thinking and acting. iMinds and IMEC are 2 institutions that regroup university research, R&D, but also corporate startups across entire fields. I had the pleasure of being chairman of it for quite some time. We do that for digital and technology. There's a similar institute which is called VIB on biotech. In terms of biotech, if you want to do anything there, Belgium, it really is the place to be. It has been creating an immense amount of startups, an immense amount of scale-ups in the meantime. Even the first unicorns have now appeared from there. There's also a couple of new kids on the block. A bottom-up movement which is called AI for Belgium, which started as kind of a movement of some developers, but which now has over 4,000 people in Belgium who are working on AI. It is all levels, all disciplines. It's again this multidisciplinary approach that we need in order to achieve great things. There's another new kid on the block, eHealth Valley. The same, again, a multidisciplinary approach. Here, this time, it's corporate, startups, government, public, all together in creating digital healthcare solutions, investment, scale-ups related to it. There's one, and that's the last example of this multidisciplinary approach, which is Be Central. I really like this because when Ursula von der Leyen announced Bauhaus, she said at a certain moment, well, maybe we should think at creating at reusing old or existing train stations and opera and give them a sustainable future. Sustainable in terms of architecture, but also sustainable in terms of skills. Be Central are the offices of the old central station in the center of Brussels. About 3 years ago, we were 15 entrepreneurs who said, okay, let's try to create a digital campus out of it. 3 years later, we have trained 250,000 people in digital skills. 47 nationalities, 40% female, the youngest is 6 and the oldest is 88. That's really amazing. That's, for me, what Bauhaus is partly about. It is this creating and giving a new destiny to existing infrastructure and doing it across gender, across languages, across ages. A second thing, everything is always dependent on people. We have a couple of, a series of amazing people, and one of the persons that I think highlights it, it's irrespective of political nature or element, but the current Prime Minister has an interesting profile. The current Prime Minister in Belgium is the former Minister of Digital and Innovation. And before that, he was an entrepreneur. I think that's a quite atypical skill, and I can tell it helps a lot in putting innovation and digital transformation on the agenda. It's doing amazing things, and I think he's one of the persons enabling it. The same thing is on universities. The universities are reinventing themselves. In Brussels, you even have the Flemish and the French-speaking university, Vrije Universiteit Brussel and Université Libre de Bruxelles, which are now working together. By the way, in English, they're both called Free University of Brussels, so it's called the same. And it's mainly thanks to this amazing woman, Caroline Powell, the dean of the VUB, who's leading that and who's making university rethink themselves, because just theoretical and fundamental research is not enough anymore. We have to do, universities have an important role in that. This atomium, for me, signifies a lot what we try to do. It is bringing together people from different structures. Hendrik just talked about unicorns being all over the place. We have the first 3 in Belgium. That's a good thing. We have repeat entrepreneurs. Martin talked about that's one of the great things that accelerate things. We have second-time entrepreneurs and third-time entrepreneurs who also become investors. All these connections of ecosystem, I don't think it's that particular for Belgium, but I think it's a very European approach now. It is each city is creating this atomic structure of entrepreneurs, repeat entrepreneurs, investors who understand the difficulty of building and scaling companies and creating the value. I heard that we are having some quantum discussions. This is a picture in Brussels of the Solvay conference in 27. They often tell it's probably the smartest meeting ever held in Brussels because 17 out of these 29 people received a Nobel Prize. You will probably all see Einstein on the bottom line in the middle. The funny thing is that my son wrote a short, he had to tell a story at school, and he chose Marie Curie, the only woman in the picture. You know, how society has evolved in the meantime. But I think that's what Belgium is interesting in. It is great people like everywhere, but I think we're quite good at hosting and bringing fantastic people together. And that brings us to the last part, which often is a bit of a controversial one. It is Europe. It is regulation. I know that we come from the old mantra that the US innovates, China imitates, and Europe regulates. I think we're past that. I think that we're all innovating, regulating, and imitating a bit. And I think we could imitate and learn with pride. But I also think that regulation can be a real added value. I think we have to use everything that we have in Europe and able to establish ourselves. There is different forces in the world, and Europe has one that if we use it well and if we are innovative in regulation, that can be a real added value. It's the organization I'm currently with, it's called EURACTIV. EURACTIV is a media network across 12 countries, 12 languages, where we publish on news and insights related to that policy. I think we need that. I think we need to understand that not just what Brussels does, but what Brussels should know from the different capitals, what Brussels can know from the different countries, and how it can help to create innovation, creativity, and digitization. And what I like a lot is not the topics, but the values that we try to live by, because I think it's the values that in a constructive Europe should live. It is being multilingual, which on itself, multilingual can be linguistic, but it can be communicating on different kind of terms. Instagram and Twitter are also languages. It's being pro-European, and it's being as constructive as we can. And so all these things make that I think Brussels and Belgium in general can be a really fantastic partner and a hub. If I can help in any way, please reach out. It's Bart Becks, and yes, the last name is written like the beer. Thank you very much.